Kieran Kyle Culkin. This year, that is 2025, Kieran Culkin won an Academy Award. So Kieran Culkin obviously is famous now for being in HBO's Succession, which is obviously the best show ever made, and which I'm not going to talk about because you know it's the best show ever made, and I know it's the best show ever made. And we have bigger and better things to be moving on to, like 1996 as Amanda. So as a fan of Kieran Culkin, what I wanted to do was, you know, give his other work a little bit of love. Everyone's Succession this, A Real Pain that. What about the real films? The good ones, the bad ones, the Dangerous Lives of Altar Boys, which is a real title of a real film that Kieran Culkin starred in 2002, and which I will get to in a moment. I'm going to break down every single movie that Kieran Culkin has been in. I'm just going to tell you what I think. I'm just going to give you some thoughts about them. I'm not going to have some point at the end. I'm just going to tell you every film he's ever been in. I'm going to tell you about that film. And then I'm going to tell you whether you should watch it, and I'm going to give it a rating. And let me tell you, a lot of these films, I'm going to say you shouldn't watch them. Kieran Culkin has been in, I think, 30? His Letterboxd page says 32. One of those is an unreleased project, and 2 of them are TV shows. So I'm not going to talk about the TV shows, because if I start to talk about the TV shows, then I'm going to have to talk about Succession, and if I get to talk about Succession, I'm going to talk about Succession for 5 hours. And that's kind of not a video I think anyone would desire to watch. I am going to fall off this ladder at one point, and we're all just going to have to be fine with that. I'm just going to do these in release order. I consider doing a ranking, but I don't believe in ranking movies. I did rank the movies on Letterboxd, but I don't believe in that. You know what I mean? Like when you get to a point when you're like, is Gaming Wall Street better than Father of the Bride Part 2? Like where are you as a person? We have first ever movie, it's Home Alone. I straight up don't have that much to say about Home Alone. You know about Home Alone. It's not really an interesting one to talk about, it's just where we have to begin. Home Alone is like a 7 out of 10 movie. No, there are more. It's like an 8 out. Home Alone is an 8 out of 10 film. It's good. The second ever movie that Kieran Culkin was in is called Only the Lonely. It was released in 1991 when he was age 9. When I say Kieran Culkin is in this movie, I'm kind of lying to you. I'm gonna play you the entirety of Kieran's performance in Only the Lonely right now.
Maybe put some weight on. You could be a jockey. I'm kidding.
Or a guard or a tackle, maybe. Same thing.
Right.
On 1. Set! 35! Hut!
Go!
Okay, Billy, right there!
So he's basically not in it. He's not in the movie. I'm just gonna review the film anyway, because he was technically in it. Only the Lonely is about John Candy as a guy who just really loves he doesn't love his mother. His life revolves around his mother. He's just always with his mother. He lives with her and he's worried about her all the time. And he meets not a mortician. She I don't know this job is called. She puts makeup on dead bodies. The things that I want you to know about Only the Lonely is, first of all, that this woman that he meets, Teresa, she's fucking awesome. She's like the coolest woman in the world. And I don't remotely know what he sees in her. It's just like a great love story of, he's like, here's my beautiful, amazing wife, and she's like, and she's just like she's just like a little weirdo. She's just like a little freak of a woman. And I do not mean that as an insult. I think she's great. But it's just funny to me. The other thing is that there's so much conflict in this movie, and there's really no reason for that. He proposes, and they are going to get married, and then the wedding happens, and neither of them show up. The conflict is the same thing every single time. The movie is just going, and then you're like, oh, but he's too close to his mother. And then more movie happens, they resolve that, and then it's like, but he's too close to his mother, and it's like, can't a guy fucking like his mom? Hi, it's me, I'm editing. I forgot to give a rating to Only the Lonely, so, 6 out of 10 is This is what I'm saying. Back to other Mina. Okay, also in 1991, Kieran was in Father the Bride. Like, you've seen Father the Bride, you know? Like, you know it. It's just like a Steve Martin comedy. Father the Bride is, like, fucking so chill, dude. I love it. I thought that was a great film. I just like that guy he's just pissed, and it pleases me a lot. Look, I did give ratings to some of these movies, but, fucking in the meantime, until I get to that, 8 out of 10 for Father of the Bride. Okay. 1992, Home Alone 2. I don't know if this is a controversial opinion, but I think Home Alone 2 is kind of leagues ahead of its predecessor. Maybe I just like looking at New York, but it fucking rocks in a way that I feel Home Alone 1 cannot possibly compete with. And that's my Home Alone 2 take. You know, I don't have much else to say. Fucking 8 out of 10. No. 9 out of 10. 9 out of 10 for Home Alone 2. 10? No, 9. In 1993, yes, when Kieran Culkin was 11, he starred in a movie called Nowhere to Run with Jean-Claude Van Damme. This is a movie where Jean-Claude Van Damme plays a fugitive who's trying to help a woman to not have her house be taken by the council because they want the land. But they're trying to get the land in really weird ways. Like, they're just sending fucking guys to go beat her up, and then Jean-Claude Van Damme is like, fights them, and then they're gone. This is a deeply strange movie. The plot is kind of nonsensical. Kieran Culkin helps Jean-Claude Van Damme fix a bike at one point. And I guess that's pretty sick. It's all a little bit nonsense, you know? I don't love it, I don't dislike it. 5 out of 10. I don't think I recommend it, but I don't. You should not watch it if you want to. You know, that's on you. You pick that. Okay, this movie was released in 2003, but it's Michael Jackson's private home movies. So I decided to put it here. Kieran Culkin is in this in the capacity that the movie is. It's Michael Jackson watching home movies. And in a lot of that, it's just like, oh, here's the Culkins are around today. And there is like a strange bad vibe. You're watching this Michael Jackson, watching his films, you're like, this has rancid vibes, just truly some of the worst vibes in the world. But then it's also like, it is nice. It's nice to see the Culkins and the Jacksons, they're like, you know, having the childhood none of them could have together, and that's sweet in a way. It's part where Michael Jackson and Brett Ratner are listening to R. Kelly in a car, and it's, you know, it's Michael Jackson and Brett Ratner listening to R. Kelly in a car. I don't really know what else I can say about that. It's fascinating, to be fair. It's an interesting movie. I guess I think you should watch it. I think 6 out of 10, you should watch Michael Jackson's private home movies. But in a way that I'm not saying it's good, I'm just saying I thought it was interesting. It's 1994 now. Kieran Culkin is 12 years old and he is starring in It Runs in the Family, also known as A Summer Story. This movie is a sequel to A Christmas Story, kind of. It's the same characters, but I don't think it's any of the same actors. It's not by the same director. I don't know who carried over. I think it was no one. I can't tell you my issues with It Runs in the Family in like a descriptive way. I can just tell you it's bad. I did not enjoy it. So the whole movie is just this gross little fucking middle-class dad getting really angry about, you know, some fucking, what are they called? You know, like Cletus, the slack-jawed yokel in The Simpsons. Those type of people. And they're just living their lives. They're literally just chilling. At one point, he tries to drive them away with classical music, because he's like, they're so low class, they'll hate this shit, and they just fucking are chilling. They have a hoedown, and it's awesome. And I think the movie should be about them, quite frankly. Kieran Culkin is just trying to get a spinning top that works really well, and then he finds one, and then him and his bully have a tied up spinning top fight. And then the film's just like, well, you know, them's the breaks. Them's is not the fucking breaks. Don't pull that shit on me. I don't watch it rest of the family. That's like a 4 out of 10 for me. I did not enjoy that. Returning to a extremely good time, in 1995, they made another Father of the Bride. It's Father of the Bride Part 2. I love this movie a lot. Again, I don't know if this is controversial. I think this is also better than the first movie. There's kind of a weird thing where I think Father of the Bride 1 is probably a technically more competent movie, but Part 2 just has the vibes of a James L. Brooks movie. Like, it's so over-sentimental, and it doesn't... Parts of it don't... There are, like, large chunks of this film where they forget that Kieran Culkin's character is, like, a factor in the movie. It's also, like, the plot of the film is that this mother and daughter are pregnant at the same time, which is, like, kind of genius in a way. I don't know. I thought it rocked. I cried many times. I say this as a fan of James L. Brooks, to be clear. I love his movies. I think they're all really good. I also like that it feels kind of feminist. Steve Martin just loves these women with all of his heart, and I think that's really beautiful. His wife and his daughter, that's his whole world, and I think that fucking rules. 9 out of 10. Amanda 1996 is a borderline lost media. For 2 years I've been trying to watch Amanda, and I have not been able to locate it anywhere. But I finally found it, and I'm not going to tell you the method in which I had to watch it, but I watched this in very, very low quality. Ostensibly, Kieran is 14 in this movie. I am almost certain he's not. I think he's like 10. The only other notable thing that I want to tell you about Amanda is that the whole movie is about how Kieran Culkin is scared of horses, and he wants to enter his bike into the rodeo. And the end of the film is that he goes to the rodeo with his bike. People boo him, and then the titular Amanda the horse shows up, and Kieran Culkin gets on it. You know, it's like, cool. And I just think that kind of sucks. I'm like, let that kid ride his bike. Also, his name is Bibble in this. His name is Bibble Farnsworth. Anyway, everyone in his family fucking hates him because he had an accident on a horse. And there's this one part where his brother shoves him and is like, things used to be fun around here, Bibble. And I fucking lost it. I thought it was so fucking funny. Also, the horse dies at the end because it tries to pull a car too hard. And I don't think that would kill a horse. So, 3 out of 10 for Amanda. Don't watch Amanda. If you find Amanda, though, show me. In 1998, Kieran Culkin was in a film called The Mighty. I think people believe The Mighty is a good movie. Sadly, to these people, I have to say, frankly, I disagree. I do not care for The Mighty at all. I find it gross. You know, in the 90s and the early 2000s, when films were just fucked up, part of the plot of this movie is that this kid, Max, he watched his father strangle his mother, and then he gets kidnapped by his dad, and him and his little disabled bestie, they have to kill his dad, and it's fucked. It's fucking weird. Also, like, the kind of conflict is resolved, and then we're in what I can only imagine to be an epilogue. And then just one scene cuts to another, and it's like, yeah, Kieran Culkin died. He fucking died from health complications. Like, oh, did he? I guess he did. Not okay with me. 4 out of 10 for The Mighty. Probably don't. You might like it. I don't like it, but I think that's because I'm an asshole. She's All That was released in 1999 when Kieran Culkin was 17 years old. There's really 2 things that I want to tell you about She's All That. But the first thing is that I like that the plot of the movie is that Zach is trying to get it with a woman who no one likes in high school. She sucks, is basically the plot. And he's like, as a dare, I'll bring her to prom. And then he falls in love with her and it's whatever. But I like that when he starts bringing her to hang around with his friends, they all just are chill with that. They're really cool with it. People are really nice to her. It sort of dismantles the high school hierarchical structure that the film is based on. And I like that a lot. One more notable thing about She's All That is that Kieran Culkin's character was supposed to be deaf. So he is wearing a hearing aid the whole movie, but then they don't reference that at any point. Really part of the movie in the end, which is sad, but you know, what, them's the fucking breaks, I guess. 5 out of 10 for 6 out of 10 for She's All That. It's like fine. I don't love it. Okay, we're actually in a string of 1999 movies. This is the second of 4. The second of 4 is, of course, Music of the Heart. Music of the Heart is a movie where Meryl Streep teaches inner city kids to play violin. Take that plot line, imagine the movie that would be. It's that movie, completely unchanged. Kieran Culkin plays one of her sons at one point. He's just a kid who's around. He's not being taught violin. Kind of the most notable thing about Music of the Heart is that it is directed by Wes Craven. And what you might be thinking right now is, oh, I didn't know there was another Wes Craven. That's interesting. It's the same Wes Craven. Wes Craven cashed in Scream sequels so that he could make the Meryl Streep Inner City Kids violin movie. I had an awful time watching Music of the Heart. I thought it was really, really bad. But I'm glad that that guy got his passion project out, and I kind of love that his passion project was so lame. 4 out of 10. Don't watch Music of the Heart. The third 1999 movie on the docket is, of course, The Magical Legend of the Leprechauns. Is this movie good? It's Romeo and Juliet with leprechauns. And also there's just like a subplot where Dennis Quaid is in love with a woman. And it's bad. Dennis Quaid in love with a woman subplot is straight up awful. Just like a bad... There's like leprechaun... Again, there's just leprechaun Romeo and Juliet happening. Kieran Culkin plays just like the friend of the Romeo leprechaun. And it's kind of cool. That part's like kind of fun, kind of sick. It's all like these weird, gross-looking 90s practical effects mixed with just like god-awful CGI. And I love it. But then you keep on having to cut to Dennis Quaid being just creeping on a woman. Another notable thing about this movie is that it's, I'm pretty confident this is the only time Kieran Culkin has ever done an accent. Which is pretty cool. He's doing an Irish accent. And, you know, I was really worried about that. I was frightened for him, because I didn't think he could do accents, because he doesn't do them, but he did pretty good. 7 out of 10 for The Magical Legend of the Leprechauns. It was pretty cool, I think. Our final 1999 movie is The Cider House Rules. The Cider House Rules won a lot of Oscars, and it did not deserve to. It's a little bit fucked that it won any Oscars. And I think about it a lot, and I just get fucking super angry. The Cider House Rules is just referenced constantly in media. It's like a really famous movie, and I cannot work out why. Tobey Maguire is like, he is an orphan, but now he's an adult, and he's just working with the orphans. Kieran Culkin is one of the orphans, to be clear. He actually does a pretty good acting job, because Tobey Maguire leaves, and then all the orphans are sad. He kind of does a sick job of being sad that Tobey Maguire is gone now. And then Tobey Maguire is in a cider house, and this shit happens. It's not, like, I don't like, there's like a romance plot, where they have no chemistry and it's bad, and then there's like a storyline where one of the women who works at the cider house, her dad impregnated her, and it's not good. What I like about this movie is that Paul Rudd is in it briefly, and I thought that was really sick. I just like seeing Cider House Rules. I don't know, like 4 out of 10? Maybe more. I think I'm being too harsh. It's like, its competence makes it worse that it's bad, you know? Like, if The Magical Legend of the Leprechauns does something dumb, I'm like, yeah, but they don't know any better. You should know better. Cider House Rules. The movie was in 2002, when he was 20, where he played the titular, the eponymous Igby in Igby Goes Down. Is one of my favorite movies ever made in the entire world. Igby in this film is just like he's just like a gross little kid. His parents are rich, and his dad has schizophrenia and is in a mental hospital, and his mother is just like weird bitch, like she fucking sucks, and he has a shitty brother who's a Republican, And he's just trying to live his life, and he goes to New York, and he meets a woman called Sookie, but everyone's out to get him, and he has this weird godfather called D.H. who turns out to be his actual father. It's like a reverse mentor movie. You know how movies happen where it's like, you know, like Good Will Hunting, like he has a sad life, and then he meets Robin Williams, and everything improves? It's like the opposite of that. It's like Igby has a sad life, and then he meets another guy, and then his life just gets even more fucked up again and again and again, until at the end he's like, fuck this, I gotta get out of here. And then he goes to California, and the final shot is like his face and the sun is on it. Because he says he just needs a sunny day. The good thing about Igby Goes Down is similar to the good thing about Succession, where they don't forget that in these, you know, gross, horrible, dysfunctional families, these people do love each other, and they love each other a lot. There's a part where his mother, he tells a bad joke and she laughs at it, and you're like, oh, she laughed, like she likes him. I think she actually likes him. I think she probably did her best. It's just that her best is fucking so bad. And there's a part where he gets beat up by his godfather, and his brother tends to his wounds. And that's sweet. I think it's a really good movie. 10 out of 10. Watch Igby Goes Down. I don't have that much to say, because it's just good. In the same year, also 2002, when he was 20 years old, Kieran Culkin was in another movie. It's The Dangerous Lives of Altar Boys. This is also one of my favorite films of all time, but for extremely different reasons. To be clear, one of the worst films I've ever seen. And it's so good. So, the movie is called The Dangerous Lives of Altar Boys, and when you hear that, you have, you know, a thought about what the danger might be. It's not that. The danger is a cougar. And I don't mean an older woman. The danger is literally a physical cougar in the zoo. That's the danger. This movie is fucked in a way I can't even get into. You know what I was saying about, you know, when I was about the mighty, like, movies in this era were just fucking odd and dark and sad. The Dangerous Lives of Altar Boys takes it to another level. If there's something that you think could be like a trigger for someone, it's in the movie. There's a part where Kieran Culkin, who's getting abused at home, it's implied, cradles a dead dog on the side of the highway, and it makes me so fucking sad that for a minute I ascend from my body and forget that I'm watching a movie called The Dangerous Lives of Altar Boys. I want to tell you the plot. I don't want to tell you anything. I want you to watch this blind. What I do want you to know, skip to there if you don't want to hear this, which you don't, but I need to say it aloud. Okay, ready? This film ends with Kieran Culkin being mauled by a mountain lion. What? And it comes out of nowhere. He just falls in a mountain lion pit, and that's the film. You know, I don't actually have that much else to say. I thought I'd have a lot to say. I actually do have a lot to say about this film. But that would be its own video. Because there are animated segments, and they look so disgusting. 10 out of 10. To me. My real review is like maybe a 2, but 10 out of 10 for the love and joy of watching just like a bad film. So, after that, Kieran Culkin took a pretty long break from acting. He came back in 2008 when he was 26 to make the film Lyme Wife. This is a movie that is ostensibly about Lyme disease, but it's also like not as much about Lyme disease as you would think. This film's interesting because Rory Culkin is also in it. Rory Culkin is the main character, actually, and Kieran plays his older brother. Lyme Wife is sort of just a movie that's about having a gross father. And that's kind of cool. It's, Rory Culkin has this weird, terrible family, and he has to learn one by one that, they aren't necessarily all they're cracked up to be. For a long time, my Letterboxd profile picture was this screenshot of Kieran in Lyme Life, because I just think he looks fucking so good. I don't know why this captured me so. This is just a really good look for him, I think. Look, we can't all be fucking perfect, okay? 7 out of 10 for Lyme. Can I give Lyme Life 7 out of 10? 7 out of 10 for Lyme Life. And I promise you this is the last time I forgot to rate a movie. 1 year later, he was in Paperman, 2009. What do I have to say about Paperman? Paperman is a movie where Jeff Daniels has an imaginary friend who's a superhero played by Ryan Reynolds. And I feel like you kind of get it. It's kind of, in a way, the most Jeff Daniels film in the world, and I don't mean that as an insult to Jeff Daniels, but he plays like a guy who moves to a town after his divorce, and his best friends are imaginary Ryan Reynolds and 17-year-old Emma Stone. It's like a father-daughter thing, and then at the end of the film he kisses her, and you're like, oh, you've made it weird. Like, it wasn't weird. What am I saying? It's weird that he kisses her, and it kind of ruins the movie, which is otherwise, like, fun. Kieran Culkin plays Emma Stone's imaginary friend. He's like this sad, mopey, emo guy who follows her around, and whenever she's like, you know, I think I'm gonna hang out with Jeff Daniels now, he's like, oh, I wish you wouldn't, that's really sad, I really would rather you spend time with me. Oh, there's like a sick part where he talks to Ryan Reynolds, and they're like, the people who imagined us, you know, they've moved on, they have each other now, they don't need me and you. And it's kind of cute, and I kind of like it. 5 out of 10. Would have been a 7, but then they made it. Then Jeff Daniels kissed that woman, and I found that displeasing. 2010, Kieran Culkin starred as Wallace Wells in Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. I like the Scott Pilgrim graphic novels. Because of this, you know, like I do have a complicated relationship with the movie, because in some ways it's good, and in other ways it's just like a more misogynistic take on the story. I think it's Edgar Wright's fault, because he is kind of like a known misogynistic guy. Not as an insult, he's just bad about writing women. So Ramona's just like a boring, like a really like manic pixie dream girl type, in a way that in the comics, she's like more fun. She's like interesting. She's like my favorite character. She's like one of my favorite characters in anything ever. Which is difficult because in the movie, she's nothing. She doesn't even really have a personality. She's just kind of there. Kieran Culkin's very good casting for Wallace Wells. You know, like I wouldn't change anything there. Do you know what I mean? Like there's a disconnect. Like it's the most fun I ever have watching a movie. But I think it's bad. So I don't have a star rating and I don't have a recommendation. This is just like a thing that I have complex feelings towards. 2011, we're on a really 1-2, year streak here. Kieran Culkin is 29 and he's starring in a movie called Margaret. It's just about a girl who is truly the worst. She's trying to get a cowboy hat and she sees Mark Ruffalo as a bus driver wearing a cowboy hat, and she tries to get him to give her the cowboy hat as he's driving, then he hits a woman, and then she feels really bad about it. But she's kind of in that like teenage stage where you think everything is a moral black and white, and you're wrong about everything, and you hate your mother, and you're just like the worst all of the time. And it's kind of good. It's kind of sick that there's a movie about that. It's a little too long maybe, but I like it. I think it's a good film. 8 out of 10. Movie 43. 2013, Kieran Culkin was 31. Much has been said about movie 43, and I don't want to reiterate any of it. Like, it took me a long time to watch this one, and I watched it this week for the first time. And honestly, it's way more palatable than I thought it was going to be. Because the thing is, when you hear that movie 43 is bad, you have an instinct to assume the way it's going to be bad, in the way that those like early 2010s raunchy comedy things were bad. But the thing is that everyone thinks movie 43 is bad. Okay, someone who loves the film like I Now Pronounce You Chuck and Larry also thinks movie 43 is bad. So then you kind of have to reframe why you think movie 43 is bad. And the thing is that it's just straight up boring. It's not that it's too gross or too misogynistic. To be clear, it is gross and extremely misogynistic. But the main issue is just that it's never funny. All of the sketches feel like they just kind of peter out towards the end. There's never really a punchline. Stuff just happens and you feel like, oh, okay. And then it ends. Oh, 0 out of 10. Almost certainly 0 out of 10, right? Like, 0 out of 10, don't watch movie 43. Unless you hate yourself, I guess, is the reason why you'd watch it, but don't. Quitters is a movie from 2015 when Kieran Culkin was 33. And I don't really remember what happened in it. And there's no synopsis on Wikipedia, so it's just about like a guy. It's just about a kid who sucks. But they balance the kid sucking way less than they do in Margaret. Because like in Margaret, she's awful, but she's awful in ways that you're watching it and you're like, oh, I was awful in that way. The Kid in Quitters is like, I hope he dies. And I don't care that he's a child. I hope he dies. I don't remember why, I just remember that being the emotion. Kieran Culkin plays like a teacher that the kid's girlfriend is sleeping with or whatever, and frankly, I don't care. I'm bored of talking about this. 1 out of 10, 2 out of 10? No one has ever considered watching Quitters, so don't do it, also. Really, in a way, the only movie to me on this list that is potentially worse than movie 43 is 2016's Wiener Dog. Wiener Dog is a movie about a wiener dog who goes into people's lives and is there. There's an idea that he's improving their lives, but he's not. This is just a movie that the philosophy behind the film is that life is miserable, you should be miserable, people all hate each other, and we should all beg for death every day. And I did not have a good time watching it. Aside from that, it's also just like it looks awful. It's just like a bad looking film. There's an intermission which seems like something out of like a kid's movie, where it's just the wiener dog walking across CGI. It's all CGI. It's just a CGI wiener dog walking across CGI backgrounds. And it lasts like 2 full minutes. And it makes me feel like I want to throw up. Kieran Culkin's segment is, I believe, a sequel to one of the director's other movies, which is fucking so stupid and annoying. It makes me want to beat someone up. I hate Wiener Dog so badly. I can't talk about it because I'm going to get too aggressive. Don't watch Wiener Dog. -10. This is the 10. This is like slightly to the left. This is like the 10 that The Dangerous Lives of Altar Boys is. This is the 10 that Igby is. Off the screen down here, this is the -10 that Wiener Dog is. Approaching a Breakthrough is a 10-minute movie from 2017. This is like a pretty good movie. It's 10 minutes long, so I don't feel like I have to say anything else. It's good. You should probably watch it. 7 out of 10. Infinity Baby is from 2017. Kieran Culkin was 35 when it released. And it's pretty good, I think. There's a read of the film where you can say it's about how settling down in monogamy and being straight is the best thing in the world and we should all aspire to it. But I kind of reject that. It's just about a company makes a baby who is a baby forever. And Kieran Culkin plays a guy who is emotionally a baby forever. He, dates women and then discards them without ever, making any plans to settle down or do anything. And that's kind of cool, I guess. My favorite story, actually, is Martin Starr has a boyfriend and they're trying to sell the Infinity Baby, I think, but then they end up with one. And then the boyfriend leaves. And then Martin Starr just has to raise this baby forever, but she actually grows up and she becomes, a real person who ages. And I think it's really sweet. I just think it's cute. Martin Starr is like, you're my little miracle child and I love you, and I think it's adorable. I like it a lot. 7 out of 10. That's like a good film. In 2020, they made a COVID art about Father the Bride. It was called Father the Bride Part 3-ish. A 20-minute long Zoom meeting where they reunited the cast of Father the Bride. And it is bad. Because obviously there's 2 new children in Father the Bride who weren't cast because they were babies in the end of the second movie, but they now have to be adults, so they had to get other actors in. Florence Pugh and Ben Platt. One of those I like better than the other. This is, it's not a movie, you know what I mean? It's just straight up not a film, and it's bad in the way that all COVID art is a little bit bad. You remember all of the bad COVID art. The bad COVID art when they do sequels to movies and shows and stuff, but it was just a Zoom meeting, and they had to find weird reasons why characters wouldn't be in the same rooms because the actors don't live with each other in real life. I actually have a confession. I did not fully finish Father the Bride. I turned off about a minute before the end when Ben Platt started doing a little song. That was just too much for me. I couldn't take that. I had to leave at that stage. So, 1 out of 10. Don't watch Father the Bride Part 3-ish. But it is better than it's inoffensive, you know what I mean? Like, Wiener Dog is an evil movie, obviously. Movie 43 is an evil movie, obviously. Music of the Heart is just, like, bland. And Father of the Bride Part 3-ish is, like, it's a little bit painful, it's a little bit cringe. But you will survive, like, you'll make it. It's not cruel, it's just, like, why did we do this? 2021, Kieran Culkin is 39, and he stars in the Steven Soderbergh movie, No Sudden Move. No Sudden Move, Kieran's in the first 30 minutes, and then he's not in the movie anymore, and I won't tell you why, because that's a spoiler. I didn't stop following the movie, I just zoned out a little too hard, and then the plot got a little too complicated for me. It's something about insurance, I think. It's insurance or finances. Matt Damon is in it as a surprise, and I was like, oh, Matt Damon, what's he saying? And then I was like, oh no, I've not followed the plot enough to understand what's happening now. I'm just telling you, I watched the movie, but also I wasn't there. Like, I was physically present, but I was gone from my mind. I'm gonna give it a blanket 7, and I'm gonna say it was like a fine. It was like a fine to good film. In my Letterboxd review, I said that sometimes the fisheye lens it does a thing where it looks bad in a way that seems unintentional. And I can't comment on that, but that's what I thought 2 years ago. So he might be right. And that brings us full circle. Because now we're coming to a real pain. What I want to say is that when an actor wins an Oscar, you kind of have an instinct to be like, is this their Oscar movie? Kieran Culkin was like a guy before Succession. He's been acting since he was a child. Culkin, as a name, is very recognizable. He was like a famous actor before Succession, but he wasn't an award-winning actor before Succession. And then Succession happened, and he won a bunch of Emmys, again in its 4th season. Like, he fucking proved himself in that show for a lot of years, and then he started winning awards. And so then A Real Pain comes out, and it's just the first movie that he's done since Succession, and there's perhaps an instinct to say that it's not a legacy Oscar, but it's an Oscar that is given to him because he's popular right now. So in a way, going back and watching his entire filmography has been an exercise not only in, you know, I like to see him in movies, but also an exercise in, like, what is his Oscar movie? What should it be? And to be clear, award shows are hacky and you pay for Oscars based on whatever your studio gives. You know what I mean? Like, Neon wins Oscars because they know how to market, and A24 doesn't win Oscars because they didn't put Zac Efron up for Best Lead Actor a year ago, which I'm still pissed off about. Edward Norton wins an Oscar now. The conversation will become, well, he should have won it for Primal Fear. Obviously, he should have an Oscar for Primal Fear. Any Oscar he wins later will be a commiseration Oscar. Is Kieran Culkin's Oscar a commiseration Oscar? Is A Real Pain his best movie? Really? Are we really saying that? Did they really make the right choice? The Academy, who never made a right choice in their fucking life? As someone who has seen all of his work, Kieran Culkin's best ever performance is as Roman Roy in Succession, which he won an Emmy for. Kieran Culkin's second best performance is as Benji in A Real Pain. It seems unlikely, I know, that the first movie he's in after his best work is, again, his best work. But it is, it's true. That Oscar was deserved. It should have been for that movie. You should see it. 10 out of 10. Go and watch it. You are welcome. I sort of made this not out of a belief that it would be an excellent video, but out of a need to have done something with the many, many hours I've spent watching Kieran Culkin movies. But you know, I hope you liked it. I had fun with this. I think it's a fun thing to do. You have like a week where you're gonna have a lot of free time. Just pick an actor and watch all of their movies, because you find some truly beautiful bad film gems, you know? That's it, that's the video. Go home now. I'm done. I'm finished, so it's your time now. Down here, it's our time. I can't just do the Goonies. Stop just quoting the Goonies. I get down off this fucking ladder.